Hello guys, this is your strategy consultant and life coach Prashant Upadhyay. Welcome back to my channel Ahamevyaham, and this is part 2 in the series of life coaching where we are covering Neuro Linguistic Programming. This is about basics of Neuro Linguistic Programming. So let's begin. You can see the contents on your screen right now. We'll begin from where we left off in the previous video, that was part 1. In this video, that is part 2 of the basics of Neuro-Linguistic Programming, we'll be covering the origins of NLP, the relationship between psychology and NLP, and we'll cover a short technique of how to change your belief within minutes. In our previous video, we covered the definition of NLP. I gave an introduction of what is meant by NLP. So let's begin with the origins of NLP. Going into deep detail into the history and development of neuro-linguistic programming, we'll actually need a separate dedicated episode for it. So what you can see on the screen is a graphical representation of the timeline of the evolution of NLP, that is neuro-linguistic programming. Although there have been many therapists, anthropologists, sociologists, and thinkers who have contributed to the development of NLP. It was formally conceptualized and introduced as NLP during the 1970s, specifically late 1970s. So if you can look at the timeline, there are several names. Many of them are therapists, reputed doctors, physicians, anthropologists, that is those who study human beings and human behavior, sociologists who understand how the human condition and the society functions, and great thinkers. I can name a few like Daniel Serpico, Mark Peitzer, Phil Parker, Lorelei Blythe, Paul Burrows, etc. But if you look at the major milestones of NLP, if we go to one of the earliest history of NLP, you can quote a particular therapist named as Alfred Korzybski. He wrote a book based on his professional experience called as Science and Sanity, where he discussed basically about how the human mind works or functions. Moving on, somewhere around 1944, Milton Erickson introduced a new concept where he presented his studies on the unconscious mental activity. That is, he went beyond the conscious level of the mind and tried to read the motives, intentions that motivate the human behavior. Going a bit further, around 1964, there was this Mr. Fritz Perls who introduced and formulated the Gestalt therapy, where he would treat his patients using a specific method. You can call it as the pre-foundation of the formal NLP. So if we skip a bit further, it is around 1977 when Richard Bandler and John Grinder they wrote a book called The Structure of Magic, which is often referred to as the standard handbook for neuro-linguistic programming by most of the practitioners. So they are considered as the initial founders or godfathers of NLP. Going forward, one Mr. Frank Pucelik, around late 1970s, he also formed something called as the Meta Institute. He is also considered as a founder of NLP, though there's a slight difference between the methods of Richard Bandler, John Grinder, and Franz Pucelik. And somewhere around the 1980s, The book NLP, Neuro Linguistic Programming Volume 1, was released by Robert Dilts. Even that is considered as a reference, a comprehensive reference material or book by most master practitioners. So that's how NLP has come into existence as a formal method. As you can see, there is a great deal of literature about and in and around NLP. It would probably take a lifetime to go through all of it. So whatever I'm presenting in this video is kind of a summary or a gist of it. And in order to understand the basics of neuro-linguistic programming, you need to understand how psychology or the human mind works, because it is from psychology NLP has emanated. You can see a pyramid on your screen. For those who are aware of subjects like psychology, sociology and anthropology, can easily relate to this. For others, let me specify that Abraham Maslow, he was a renowned anthropologist of his time. He formulated this particular pyramid called as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which was later on expanded by Milton Erickson, and it follows the Jungian and Erickson's theory of psychosocial development, in stark contrast to the traditional accepted Freudian theory of psychosexual development. So based on this model, in the context of neuro-linguistic programming, the goal is to reach to the stage of self-actualization, and NLP makes it possible for everyone to be able to do exactly that, reaching one's own peak in life. Remember, the goal of NLP is not about competing with somebody else or comparing yourself with somebody else. It's just about becoming a better version of you, being better than yesterday, and eventually reaching your peak performance in life. That's what NLP is all about. And without going into details about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I would just like to summarize that 95% of the human population or mankind, they always keep revolving between the basic biological and physiological needs, safety needs and esteem needs. Yes, 95% of the population, they are able to hardly cross the level of esteem needs, and roughly about less than 3% of human beings are able to reach or even look towards fulfilling or satisfying their aesthetic and cognitive needs. That's a very important factor here. It will be difficult for me to cover in detail what this exactly means, because it's a short video. And less than 2% of mankind is able to actually reach to a stage where they can fulfill their self-actualization needs. There's something even beyond this that is called as transcendence needs, which is out of the purview of the current subject. As I said earlier, that the goal of NLP is to reach self-actualization. So in order to understand what it means, you need to know what are the characteristics of self-actualizers. Number one, they perceive reality efficiently and can tolerate uncertainty. Number two, they accept themselves and others for what they are. Number three, they are spontaneous in thought and action. Number four, they are problem-centered and not self-centered. Now that's a very powerful point over there. Number five, they have an unusual sense of humor. Number six, they are highly creative. Number seven, they are able to look at life objectively. Number eight, they are resistant to enculturation but not purposely unconventional. That is, they might not conform to the common narrative, like herding of sheep. No, they don't do that. Number nine, they're concerned for the welfare of humanity. Number 10, they're capable of deep appreciation of basic life experience. Number 11, they're able to establish deep, satisfying interpersonal relationships with a few people. Number 12, they often have peak experiences. And when I say peak experiences, it's about their peak performance. Number 13, they recognize the need for privacy. And number 14, they have a very democratic attitude as opposed to autocracy. And number 15, they have strong moral and ethical standards. So these 15 points are the characteristics of self-actualizers. Now, I would actually want you guys to pause this video right here, look at the screen, silently or calmly read out those 15 points and try to identify, are you a self-actualizer, or have you ever thought of becoming one, and how many of these points are applicable to your life personally. I hope you guys have been able to relate the 15 points of self-actualization with your own personal lives. Now let us try to understand what is the type of behavior that can lead you to self-actualization. There are just 7 points and they are right on your screen. Number 1, experiencing life like a child with full absorption and concentration. Have you ever wondered how a child is absorbed in his or her activities, be it roaming around like a toddler or playing with his or her toys? There is absolute absorption and concentration in whatever a child does. Number 2, trying new things instead of sticking to safe paths. That is being experimental and taking calculated risks rather than following the same old path or the same old routine or the established norm. Number 3, listening to your own feelings in evaluating experiences instead of the voice of tradition, authority, or the majority. Now that's a very striking point and a striking difference of self-actualizers. And number 4, avoiding pretense. That is being honest, not simply putting up a face or a mask in front of people in order to get things done. No, you have to be really real in your day-to-day dealings with people. Number 5 is about being prepared to be unpopular if your views do not coincide with those of the majority. That is also one of the most striking differences of self-actualizers. And then we have, moving on to the next point, taking responsibility and working hard. So self-actualizers never play the blame game, and they take full ownership of whatever they do. Number 7, and last but not the least point, is trying to identify your defenses and having the courage to give them up. Now that is the toughest part in life. For being able to do this, one has to really examine oneself very deeply as to what kind of defense systems or wall have you built around yourself, and how many instances do these defense mechanisms get activated in your day-to-day life, and then trying to bring the walls down, putting down the curtains, actually shutting down the show and facing things by being real. That's really tough, trust me. NLP also has its own quantum theory. Before I try to go ahead and explain this, I would like to read out a very famous quote from the movie POTC, Pirates of the Caribbean, where Captain Jack Sparrow says, "The problem is not the problem is your understanding of the problem." Please read that again if you haven't understood it yet. Then it will be applicable on you too. Jokes apart, probably you guys have heard of quantum physics. What is quantum physics? What is the gist of it? I mean, we're not going into the technical details of it. As per quantum physics, nothing is certain and nothing is created until it is observed. That's one of the givens of quantum physics. Number 2 is everything is in motion. That is, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. Nothing is static. Everything is dynamic. And number 3, everything potentially already exists. Now, these are the 3 dictums of quantum physics. For those interested into the technical or scientific part of it, you can always refer to related topics like Schrodinger's cat, Pavlov's dogs, and Skinner's experiment. NLP utilizes the quantum theory via the use of words. So that is what is incorporated into NLP, and it is called as quantum linguistics, where no matter what you think you're always more than that, right? And it is understood that reality is a construction, thus you can change it, because the way you perceive the whole world is your own reality. What you call as your own reality is your own construction. It is your own mental construct. Somebody else may not see the world the way you see it. So everyone's perception is different, and thus that kind of constructed reality can always be changed. And everything and everyone is in fact connected as one. There is a sense of interconnectedness in quantum linguistics. So these are the 3 dictums of quantum linguistics, and that is how Neuro Linguistic Programming utilizes the power of words and the fact that the quantum theory can be applied in our real lives. That is how NLP basically works. Now I would want to ask you a question. Is it really possible to change someone's beliefs within minutes? Is it really possible? Have you ever asked this question to somebody, or have you ever asked this to yourself? We'll have a look at it. This is basically about conversational hypnosis. Just think about it. Is it possible to change someone's belief without their knowledge? Actually, it has happened with everyone. Just think about it. A teacher, a counselor, a salesperson, all of them use it. Think about the time when you went to school, probably kindergarten or primary school. You held different kinds of belief at that time. Who instilled those beliefs in you? Probably your teacher, right? And you progressed, and as you progressed from primary to secondary to higher to the rest of your schooling days, your belief, whatever beliefs you held initially, they were replaced with newer ones. Some could have been even contradictory, right? So if you think about it or analyze, you'll realize that yes, this happens with everyone in different spheres of life. Likewise, what does a salesperson do? If the sales guy is a really good sales guy who can read your mind, or basically he also knows how to use NLP tools and techniques, he will know how to change your perception within minutes and to convince you that his product is the best one in the market and you're getting the greatest deal of a lifetime. That's what all sales guys at least try to do, isn't it so? So it is possible to change someone's belief without their knowledge. And the next question you would want to ask is it possible to work on your own belief system? Of course, yes. And leaders and achievers, they use it all the time, because before you attempt to change somebody else's belief, you need to believe in it yourself, and that implies that you can change your own beliefs first, right? So the act of discreetly connecting with someone to access their subconscious mind without their knowledge and then utilizing it to your advantage, that is what is basically conversational hypnosis. And you can utilize this conversational hypnosis with yourself. So how to change beliefs within minutes? I'll give you a simple method which is called as the 4-stage hypnotic protocol. Stage 1 is where you absorb attention. You need to set a focus with the other person. Stage 2 is when you bypass the critical factor, where you prepare the ground for hypnotic suggestion. Stage 3 is when you activate an unconscious response, that is involuntary evoked response. And last but not the least, stage 4 is when you lead the unconscious to the desired outcome. That is how you have a conversational hypnotic interaction. And let me tell you that this is not some kind of a quick fix or a gimmick or a trick. This is a tried and tested method, and this protocol is used widely across the media. Have you ever thought about it? How does a particular song, jingle or advertisement become catchy? How do movies and series become memorable? Let us take a simple example over here. Every one of you must have gone to school in your childhood, and each one of you would still remember your favorite teacher as well as the worst teacher. Now, no offense to teachers here. We are talking about only perception. We are not judging anyone here. That particular favorite teacher of yours must have used this 4-stage hypnotic protocol over and over again, whether knowingly or unknowingly, because this is based on how the human mind naturally works. Okay, it's not some kind of mumbo jumbo tactic. Okay, so the teacher would have used this 4-stage hypnotic protocol knowingly or unknowingly. And in other words, you can think in terms of why do some people are very good orators, and there are others who can actually be very bad at storytelling, right? So why are some people good at sales? Ask questions like this. Why some people are extremely good leaders? Now, there are many factors that are involved, but one of the major things is they all use this 4-stage hypnotic protocol knowingly or unknowingly. Here's a short demo on the 4-stage hypnotic protocol. Even though I cannot see you right now, I can still feel that after watching this video, you will be easily able to realize the power of words and use this newly found awareness to expand your influence within your circles during your day-to-day life, as well as stop all of your negative habits naturally and experience what you had thought before as beyond your reach. Because NLP causes your mind to unlock unlimited resources that can place you among the best of the best. What I just told you actually covers all the 4 stages of this hypnotic protocol. If you have not been able to understand, you can actually pause, ponder over it, or you can replay this particular section to be able to understand what I am trying to say. I can give you yet one more example with a specific purpose. Suppose you have a purpose in your mind, and the purpose is that you tend to procrastinate too much, right? That is not exactly laziness, but you tend to delay things and put things for tomorrow rather than doing it right now. So if you really want to quit procrastination, you need to listen this very carefully with your 100% of attention. So here is it. Everyone has 86,400 seconds of life each day, just as you and me. You can use these seconds wisely with complete focus of your goals and aspirations via mindfulness. You can utilize your ingenuity to discern what is most useful for you each time and at every place. You can effectively negate all the distractions that pull you away from what you want to achieve. You can detoxify your mind and refresh it each time as and when you wish. You can use this self-awareness to navigate through the complexities of life and achieve more as a natural result of this process. Now, affirm with me, I will be mindful, I will be ingenuine, I will negate, I will detoxify, I will be self-aware. In fact, I already am. Now, you would want to replay this, note it down, or listen to this again and again, and this will eventually hit your subconscious mind at some level, and you will eventually quit procrastination. Believe me, this works. So, I just covered the 4-stage hypnotic protocol, a simple method that can help you change your beliefs, behavior, thoughts, words, and actions within minutes. Trust me, you need to practice with it if you really want to be able to understand it, utilize it, and benefit from it. Now, going forward, we'll cover the principles of Neuro Linguistic Programming. With this, you'll be able to understand how this really works. That brings us to the end of this video, which is part 2 in the series of life coaching on basics of Neuro Linguistic Programming. The principles of NLP will be covered in the next video, that is part 3. So keep watching and take care of yourself. Ciao.